Hi everyone. Today we are moving on to the next chapter titled Claiming an Education. Claiming an Education is a speech given by Adrienne Rich. Adrienne Rich is one of the famous American poet, essayist, and political activist. She is a widely read and one of the most influential writers in American literature. She is also one of the leading feminist voices in the American literary canon. Claiming an Education is a speech given by Adrienne Rich at the convocation ceremony to the graduating women students of Douglas College, New Jersey, USA in September 1977. Throughout her speech, she emphasizes on her concept of claiming versus receiving an education. To her, being educated is a right, and she says that both men and women should claim it. For her, receiving an education is simply accepting education as if it is offered as an option rather than a right. And she says about the importance of educating women as well as women's rights in an educational institution. Let's see what the entire text is all about. We shall go through the major points that she has incorporated in her speech. And for today's class, we shall discuss the contents of page number 50 as well as 51. At the onset of her speech, she says that she plans to divide her speech into two parts. First part obviously addresses the women students who are graduating from Douglas College. And the second part, she addresses the teachers in a women's college, though these two parts are inseparable. She says that these two parts are inseparable. It can't be separated. She continues with her speech and she agrees she says that she agrees with the common understanding that university education is a process of development and refinement where the students are polished and modified to expected and desirable roles. She says that she agrees with the understanding that university of course is a place where a student gets refined intellectually, morally, socially and politically and so on. But at the same time, she adds her concept of university education as an ethical and intellectual contract between a teacher and student. She says that she gives much importance to the student-teacher relationship in any educational institution. She moves on with her speech and she tries to make a distinction between what it means to receive and claim an education. Okay. She asks the audience to check the dictionary and to look for the meaning of these two words. To claim means to assert or to be the owner of. When you claim your education, you consider your education as your right. Whereas to receive means to accept, where you consider education as a mere choice or option. She reminds the women students that they are in the college, they are in their educational institution to claim an education and not to receive an education. That means education is not an option but a right. Then she moves on to talk about the weaknesses of a university learning. She says that women are excluded from the curriculum of academic community. She says that there is a total deletion or complete erasure of women's lives, experiences, history, and thoughts from the curriculum. Okay, so there is an exclusion of women as members of the academic community. And she cites the example of Douglas College itself. She says that Douglas College, though a women's college, is excessively administered by men. She points out the scarcity of representation of women at both the levels of faculty as well as administration. Therefore, whatever you learn, read, and hear are all not objective or accurate realities of the past, but a distorted one. The texts that you read, the lectures that you hear, they are all pieces of information as perceived, understood, and propagated by men, especially white men. So, when you come across terms like major text and great issues in inverted commas, they are all what the male centered tradition has decided as important. So, whatever you learn in a university is from a male centric perspective. She continues with her speech. She says that sciences can be racist and sexist too. What do you mean by this? She says that black and other minority sections were discriminated on the basis of their ethnicity, and the race into which they belonged, and their experiences, history, lives. All these things didn't find a place in the literatures labeled as human. For various reasons, the thoughts and experiences of women also were excluded from the curriculum, and more women found it difficult to understand and compromise with this kind of exclusion. Adrian Rich creates a chain of words like faddism, group therapy, unscholarly, which are indicative of the obstacles or the hindrance that stand in the way of women's access to education. But in spite of all this negative reactions to a woman getting educated, a whole body of academic discipline or knowledge called women's studies are still growing. And as a result of this branch, it will offer more and more women of fresh vision and of their lives, their history, their thoughts, their experiences, and so on. It will also provide a critical basis for what they read and what they hear. Adrian Rich is pointing towards fostering a critical inquiry among women. She continues her speech. She says that she's not there to talk about any women's studies or getting enrolled into women's studies, but she's there to talk about an entirely new concept, which is education is an essential personal experience. which means education means taking responsibility towards yourself or oneself. And she elaborates upon this concept of hers, responsibility towards yourself or oneself. This concept shall be discussed in the next video. So thanks for listening, and you are advised to read the text. Thank you.